There are people who feel the world differently. We can spend hours watching the waves crash on the shore, get lost in the beauty of a field dotted with flowers, find poetry in the rain or in buildings that hold 1,000 other lives inside them. Maybe, like me, you spent part of your life thinking you were strange, trying to fit into situations and with people who had nothing to do with you, believing you were the problem, when in reality, you were simply in the wrong place. In today's world, where extroversion and productivity are socially considered normal, empathy and sensitivity are often seen as weaknesses. But believe me when I tell you, after years working as a police officer, the ability to emotionally connect with someone in a split second, especially someone who truly needs it, is a gift not everyone has. And yes, you can be firm, strong, a leader, and highly sensitive. In fact, that sensitivity is part of your superpower. From that job, and from a partner I had at that time, the name of this channel was born. I used to talk to him about houses in the countryside, about the changing colors in the sky, about rain and beer in Irish pubs, about TED Talks that moved people. And he told me I had a head full of birds that never landed anywhere. So, it felt poetic to give the channel that name. And finally, let my birds fly. A few of you have been asking me to share more of my art and my creations. I've realized that in this chaotic journey we've been navigating together, I've barely shared this part of me. So, in this video, I want to share a little more of my creative story. Who knows? Maybe it resonates with you too. I was a smart little girl who grasped lessons so quickly in school that I'd get bored fast, and I would start talking to whoever sat next to me. To avoid slowing down the rest of the class, my teacher allowed me to draw during lessons while she repeated explanations. I was 6 years old. Like many creative kids, I spent my time drawing, writing stories, and even acting them out, making films with my toys, and teaching imaginary classes to friends and family with worksheets I created myself. When I was 12, I created a fictional company named after my cat, Chispico. I made planners that my niece took to school, coloring books, Christmas cards, short stories, and everything carried the Chispico stamp. The signs were already there. But my teenage years were very hard. In high school, I had problems for being different. Though luckily, my height, 1.76, helped me deal with certain situations. I would take refuge in 19th pop music, my imagination, creativity, books, and that's when I started dreaming of traveling. I moved to Barcelona to study art and wanted to study music video production, but the program was full, so I ended up studying personal image consulting and fashion styling. Surprised? Because I love transforming my niece and my friends with clothes and makeup. I even tried to start a business, but the fashion world just didn't align with my values, so I let it go. Tired of drifting and still living with my parents, I ended up achieving the Spanish dream, securing a civil servant position as a Catalan regional police officer. That's when I realized humans are capable of absolutely anything we set our minds to, even things we never imagined possible, things we thought we didn't have the qualities for. I learned that when you open doors no one in your immediate world has opened before, your universe expands exponentially. But I also learned that the police world could be very small, and if, like me, You didn't find your own kind of people. You ended up surrounding yourself with other officers and trying to be, again, normal. And so I stopped drawing, painting, dreaming, writing. I literally locked all my birds inside a cage. And I withered. I lost my spark, my desire, my motivation. I felt alone while surrounded by people, and the only air I could breathe came from walking through the mountains with Nika. I still miss her so much. Until one day, a colleague who secretly made furniture told me he understood exactly what was happening to me and gave me the contact of a girl who gave creative mentoring sessions and shared a workshop space with him. From that time, my vlog, Los Lunes Perros, was born. I would draw fast sketches without lifting the pen and write short text to go with them. I started to gain confidence, and little by little I began to enjoy it again. I began to imagine again, to dream again, to return to my essence, and my birds began to fly once more. I met Nazaret, sold my first pet portraits, and started expressing myself more as who I truly was. From there, life began to spin faster until it brought me here. I believe that for some of us, creative expression isn't just a hobby. It's a core part of our truest identity. And if we try to suppress it, it will fight its way back to the surface. And if we insist on ignoring it, we sink into apathy and numbness, into that constant feeling that something is missing, even if we have everything in the eyes of others. It's not just something we do, it's a way of living. Some of us feel that call to express, to communicate to the world what we see, how we see it, and how we feel it. And it's how we connect with others, with life, and with ourselves. What's beautiful about living in your truth is realizing there's beauty in your strangeness. That seeing nature through the eyes of a poet lets you live more in the present. That appreciating the small things and giving thanks for them gives warmth in difficult times. They call us dreamers, and maybe we are. We spend part of our lives trying to translate a language others can't see, but later consumed through books, films, songs, or t-shirts. I genuinely believe the world now more than ever needs people like this, people who bring humanity, warmth, and community into this world. I started this YouTube channel with the desire to create a community of kindred spirits, a community I didn't find until I was nearly 40. Because I'm convinced that if I felt this way for most of my life, and if you stayed until this point in the video, maybe you felt this way too. For a long time, I thought all I wanted was to illustrate, but I discovered my creativity holds so much more. Video, writing, designing product ideas and books, storytelling. But I'm also passionate about the human mind, inspiring others, motivating people to grow despite fear, exploring the world with the eyes of an eternal student, and seeing beyond the words people tell me. You know, many times we leave behind the child or the teenager we once were, thinking their ideas have no place in the adult world. But I've realized it's the opposite. That stage of our lives holds what we truly love, what moves us without even knowing why. So what if the real magic is letting our birds build their own nest with the kind of branches they love the most? I could say that my love for art, or rather for a creative life, turned my world upside down. But strangely enough, I've never felt so whole. I'm sure it's a matter of time that I find balance. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about that 6-year-old girl who made worksheets for her students, who invented companies named after her cat. And I'm excited to tell you that I've taken a step forward. I've already have a date for my first in-person workshop here in Albacete. It's a workshop for women who want to learn how to understand their visual language and their inner magnetism, so they can express exactly what they want to express in key moments. Did I make you a bit curious? I know almost no one on this channel lives here, but if you want me to share how I'm creating it, what I'm designing, what I'm preparing for that day, I'd love to tell you. But before I go, I want to ask you something. What was that thing you loved doing when you were little? Do you still do it, or would you like to bring it back into your life? Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.